Welcome back in Tec Dev Studio, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can set up a third-person shooting player from scratch. So I already organized everything what I need, so let's get started. First I will go to the blueprints, and inside of blueprints we'll be go to the blueprint class, then we'll be go to the characters. Now we can give it name whatever we want, so I'm going to give it name BP player. So double click and open it. Once you open it, now we need to set up the mesh. The mesh is important. The mesh is basically the visual, the look of the player body. So for the player body, I already organized everything. I'm going to use the Unreal Engine by default UE4 mesh. So I'm just simply drag and drop to the mesh sector, and you'll find something like this. Now I need to set up the location and rotation. Let's set it to -90 by -90. Now compile and save. Now I have the basic player mesh. Now we need to add a spin arm. So the spin arm will help you to control the camera. So I'm going to set up on the narrow head, and I'm going to rotate it to 90 degree as well again. So if it's coming at 90, which is pretty similar like 90 degree, however I'm going to give it a 90 degree angle. Compile and save. Instead of that, I'm going to add a camera. So you can search camera and add a camera component. So once you add a camera, actually you find the by default it's going to be joined with your location rotation. So just click on this arrow, and it's going to be reset your location rotation, but for only for the camera. Now the camera is attached with the spin arm. So for now we'll keep it like this. We'll be changing the customization it later. Then compile and save. Now for the movement and etc, we can go to event graph, and we can remove these lines of code. And now we need to add a simple some code. The first thing, we need to add a player controller as well, so we can control the player. So now right mouse, click on blueprints, and here you find the player controller. Click on that. Let's give it name BP. Okay, double click and open the controller. Now at here by default you find here that the default mouse class and everything, like who is with the player camera manager and etc. So let's give it that player camera manager, and because we are doing it from basics or scratch, so we must need to give this inputs as well, so otherwise it's not going to be work. Okay, so okay, at here our first work is we will set up the some configuration at here, because it's built from scratch, so we need to set up this as well. So in the player camera manager will be set the player camera manager, and at here when you go to this section, it's basically inside of input, just split that and you find the override player input class, set it to enhance input system, otherwise it's not going to be work. Okay, so compile and save. Now I have basically your input system. Now you can write whatever code you want inside of your the controller class or the player controller, and instead of the player we need to call it, so get player controller, and from that will be cast to BP player controller, and you can add a sequence if you want, it's on you. And from that we will be add enhance input subsystem. Will be add it our map context, so add map context, which is basically whatever context we have, we can use that. So by default I have the input context from the Unreal Engine 10% templates, so you can get that input. So IMC default input, so it's have already the basic stuff like jump, move and look. So if you want, you can create it from scratch. So for time saving, because it's available in everywhere and it's easy to create, so that's why I'm using from the Unreal 3rd%. So once you have this thing, just assign it here. So for assigning it here, just assign like this. So now you can see that we have the basically IMC the default player inputs. Okay, and also by the way, if you want, you can give it name it custom, kind of like you can set it to as a player, so it's going to be more easy for you to in future if you have multiple IMC default input system. for example for the vehicle, it's going to be work as well. It's going to be override, so that's why we are keep it name in a separate one, so it is now more easy to find out everything. Now you can call that functions and we can make the input stuff. Like for example, now check that what is the basically custom or mapping name. You can give a look at in your mapping context. You find here I move, I look. So in the I move, let's give it name that move. Okay, now once we set up our player controller and everything, now we can basically work in our inputs. So let's search IA, then you can search, give a dash, and you find all the input stuff. So we'll be start from the move one. So this is the TDS one which we have. So move and split that, and here you find the action values. So now split it again. Once you split this thing, now you have a XYZ stuff. So to move the character, there is a blueprint available which is called add movement input system or a function, and you can connect with a trigger. Now for the direction, there's a two type of way. You can use the camera or you can get the player rotation. So I'm going to get with the player rotation. So get control rotation, it's called controller rotation. Now you can split that. Once you split that, now because it's a vector, we need to make it as a vector. So get right vector. There should be a right vector. Strange. Let's try it from here. Get right vector. Here is a get right vector. Now it's in like this, so you need to split that and just connect X, roll, and Z. And we are not going to connect the pitch at here, and connect like this. Okay, and you can get a space like this. Okay, now after that we'll be moved to the forward one. So for the forward, we'll be again duplicate it, and because forward we'll only use the Z one. So but at here, this is basically the right vector to verify the left and right, and the second one will be our forward leftward. So we'll again can use the same blueprints, but at here will be use that get forward vector, get forward vector, and split that again, connect with the Z axis only, or yeah only. And after that, yeah, and if you think that it's looking weird for you, we can make it there should be a line straight connection. Oh sorry, yeah, now okay. If you think it's looking weird for you, so you can make it something like that. Okay, now you have this thing. Now you need to just connect these values. So there's a two type of value, as I said. The first one will be used as a the rotation one, like this, and then we'll be use this one as our forward, which is basically the Y. Okay, so this is all the code for the movement. Now compile and save. By the way, if you think that you still need to work on the controller, by default you all already assign it to the controller stuff, so you don't need to again give it the controller stuff as well. So now we need a game mode. The game mode is basically very important. Why it's very important? Because it's kind of like without this thing your map can't be understand that with which player you want to work. So at here we'll be create a game mode called BP player game mode, like this. Now double click and open it. Now at here we can assign our player at here, so which is BP player. Now at here it will be ask you which player controller class you want, so we'll be use our BP player controller class. So now compile and save it. Once you save it, now you are ready to rock and roll. So now in the demo section, lastly you need to go to settings, then go to world settings, and here you find the default game override. Change it to BP player game mode. Make sure you always has a player start location in your scene. If you don't have in your scene, just press this quick edit option. Then basic players, you can add a player start location from here. Now compile and save. Now let's give it play. Now once your mouse will be disabled, you can see that with the forward backward I can move my character easily. Okay, now let's work on the rotation, or basically the player for the rotation one. Okay, like the camera input. So this is for move, so let's give it a move. The second one is for the loop. So we'll be again call our IA, and now after that IA we will use our TDS look IA, and at here you also see that it's also have the vector, so it's a 2D vector. You can easily identify with that the blue color one. Now we need to control the yaw and the pitch, so we'll be simply call that add yaw, and it's basically the add player controller yaw. And then we need a pitch, so add controller pitch. Now connect like something like this, and once you connect, we can again connect with the trigger. For the camera it's a very easy. For the X you connect with the yaw, and for the Y will be use for the pitch will be use Y, which is basically very easy. We can give it name that look. Once you have this thing, now compile and save. Now click on play. Now as you can see, I can rotate it as well. Now I have a question, why I can't rotate it like a actual third person one. So because you know that we add a spin arm, so now we need to just allow at here that use pawn control rotation. Now compile and save. Now we are able to control it something like this as a real third person player character. So as a third person, it's ready from scratch. So thank you so much for watching, and you'll get this file if you want in our description link below. I don't think so you need that, so I'm not going to upload it, but in next after the videos I'll try to provide the files, because this is a very quick simple and HTC, you don't need that. In the second part I will add the files as well, because in second part we'll be working the open stuff. So yeah, that's all in this video. Thank you so much for watching. See you in next tutorial video.